Hey beautiful beings, welcome back to the realm of inspiration, and we are working with the chameleons today, embracing change, which I guess is pretty self-evident with chameleons because they change, but they're connected to the frequency of change. Feeling a sense to light my Palo Santo, but while doing that, I accidentally put out my candle. Don't want to be putting out our inner fire. If you remember the salamander video, which I'll link to this video if you haven't seen it, check it out, because very, very powerful. If you have, then you get why, like, we're back with the chameleons, because they were referencing the chameleons. So there is definitely some relationship between the salamanders and the chameleons energetically going on with the work that they do. So especially with embracing change. We've embraced new beginnings with the daffodils. We have embraced our inner wisdom with the orchids. We have connected to prosperity with the frogs, the veil line with the crows. Just basically doing a recap of what all we've done, connecting to the divine with the sunflowers. And next week, I believe, is healing frequency. Healing frequency with amethyst and lavender next week. So we've connected to a lot. Obviously, the plants and the animals have lots to say, lots to share with us all in this space and time. And I actually still have my orchid plants, but you know, I see it blooming, but this video is coming out well after I record this. By the time this video comes out, my orchid might not still be alive, but it's still here, it's still thriving. But it's changing. It's changing, it's evolving, and as the first flowers in it, the ones that were first bloomed, kind of start wilting away, new ones start blooming. Sometimes you have to let go of something for something new to bloom, something that's equally, or if not more beautiful than what happened before. So a lot of change. And again, I'm feeling like a confusion of different elves that want to come through. I'm feeling like related to change, obviously any reptile that sheds skin related to change, that it's a divine feminine Elfian Animal Healer of the chameleons wants to step through. And it's a very like funny energy in the sense of like, it's almost like what they're about to say. It's like, humans, you already know. That's the kind of, I was like, you already know what we're gonna talk about. This is like, it's common knowledge, but let's remind you all. But it's a reminder of like, not like us as humans incarnating in the physical already know, but us as souls before we incarnate already kind of know what is gonna come through, and it's more just like a reminder, because we know before we incarnate that the biggest thing that we're gonna be afraid of is change, but the thing that we as humans go through the most is change, because we reincarnate, so we're constantly going through change. So it's actually a cycle of being a being of life that we are, and that is something that like our ego is afraid of, because it knows that our power comes from change. So, divine feminine Elfian Animal Healer of the chameleons, please step forth when I've safely stepped back to deliver messages to the collective of what we need to know, not what we want to hear, for our highest good. Hello beautiful beings, I am a divine feminine Elfian Animal Healer of the chameleons, and we're not going to be as snappy as the salamanders, but we do have lots to share with you all today about embracing change. So first and foremost, let's talk about the Chameleon Group Soul. The Chameleon Group Soul's physical form represents the soul mark that they have as guides of change. In the animal kingdom, they are guides of change. They take on this role within the animal kingdom, within the physical reality, to be a representation of constant change and adaptable change, because as humans, you change to adapt. And this is true. When you reincarnate, you're actually adapting to something new. When you pass away, when you transition out of the physical form that you are living in, you are told the things that you need to work on and the things that you did well, and that your soul must adapt to something new. So when you reincarnate, you are adapting to something new, and your changes come from adapting, come from flexibility. And chameleons change their physical image due to adapting to a new environment and oftentimes to protect themselves. Why you guys could go through change as humans is not necessarily to protect yourself, but it is in the sense that you are protecting yourself from being sucked down to the negative polarity. You are protecting yourself in the sense of, you know that while you go into a lifetime to put yourself through quote unquote hell on earth, you are actually doing that. You're going through that pain, you're going through that suffering for a reason. You are doing that so you can embrace your inner divinity. You are doing that so that you can heal, so that you can become better, so that you can become stronger, so that you can be free from fear. You are doing that so that way you can evolve. So you are going through that process of adaptable change, of going through change and reincarnation time and time and time and time again, and taking on different physical forms in different environments and different lifestyles and different lifetimes to evolve as a soul, and so that you can keep surviving and thriving. And that's why obviously chameleons change their physical form to adapt, change their physical image, like the color. They don't, change physical form the same way as you humans do when you reincarnate, specifically. So with a chameleon, they are changing that color so that they can survive and they can live another day, or you can live another lifetime. So there is a certain symbiotic relationship and symbolism in how the chameleon's physical form represents itself, and they do take on a role as guides of change for everyone. So chameleons can come forth for people's animal connections as spirit animals, as power animals, as totem animals, not as messenger guides. Reptiles don't typically come through as messenger guides, neither do amphibians. It's more so birds and insects. Sometimes beings in the aquatic realm like jellyfish or starfish will come through as a messenger guide, but oftentimes not reptiles, because reptilian energy is a little bit different. So for chameleons, they also just take on the role as guides of change from the animal kingdom. So obviously the animal kingdom offers up your individual, your individual spirit animals, your individual power animals, totem animals, kinship connections, those things that are soul contractually made and chosen. Whereas there also must be something that the animal kingdom offers to humans that is not something that's a soul contract. Because you can have other guides from realms, from like the Elfian Realm or the Fey Realm, that are not related to the guide that they give you, but related to a soul contract with humanity. And so the animal kingdom must give up a guide that is a never-changing guide. That is this energy, and that's where the chameleons come forth as this guide of change. As part of your spirit team, your guide of change will take on the form of a chameleon. So technically, it's not that your guide of change is necessarily a chameleon per se, but it's that your guide of change and your spirit team is a soul that works with the animal kingdom and works with the chameleons, and is a soul that embodies chameleon characteristics and will take on the form, like the image of a chameleon to you, in the same way that your messenger guide will take on the form to you of a bird, butterfly, what have you. So it's in that way. And that same way your messenger guide will have a connection to the specific, like a hummingbird or a cardinal or a monarch butterfly have a connection to a specific messenger guide and take on that image when they connect to you and use that guide image as a way to communicate to you in the physical. Same thing with the guide of change, and that does directly come from the animal kingdom as a way to offer up a guide to humans to help them, because the animal kingdom determined that among a lot of other things, and that's why you have a lot of soul contracts with different animal group souls, among a lot of other things, one thing that humans need to remember is that change is part of their purpose. Like, change is a part of what you do. You have that gift. You have that ability. For animal group souls, they split into different physical forms. It's still the same one soul that just splits and goes into different physical forms. When one physical form dies, that part of the soul returns to the group soul, and it's like a recycling process that's very different than humans. So you as humans, you have this different, unique ability that part of being a being of life is your constant ability to change. That's why your source energy takes on the form as the tree of life. A tree is ever changing, and that's why actually the beings of knowledge have been interpreted as dragons, because reptilian energy also goes through changes. It sheds skin. So the beings of knowledge have taken on this form that looks like, what myths have interpreted as dragons. So they are the dragon realm in the way that you understand it. Obviously, was not their original name, same way that us is the Elfian Realm. Our name was not originally elves, but this is how it is understood. So we take on that anagram, eternal loving friend. So that is, and they have the tree of knowledge as their source energy to kind of, emulate the fact that they also go through some ever-changingness, because trees are ever-changing. Understand? So we as from the beings of inspiration, our source energy takes on the form of a flower. It's not necessarily ever-changing in the same way. It's blooming. So flowers bloom and they shed, and then you plant a new seed and it grows again. It's a little bit different than with the trees, where it's the same tree can stand strong and go through different seasons and keep evolving, and it's still the same tree. How you guys are still the same soul, but you go through different variants, different times, different periods of life. Which is a little bit different than a flower. So that was a little something there to share with you all from the chameleons and from me as a being of inspiration that works with the chameleons. So that energy of change, you do have a guide of change that you can connect to in your spirit team if you are ever feeling scared of change. Change is different than rebirth. Just to note that, because you do have like a resilience guide that can help you with like rebirths, but change isn't always the same thing as rebirth. Rebirth would be relating to your grieving process and like dying and being born again in the physical, which has, where you go through a rebirth of like becoming a new version of yourself in your current lifetime, and then becoming new versions of yourself in other lifetimes. That guide is present there, but change is a little bit different. Change doesn't always mean a rebirth, but a rebirth always means change. Note of that. So change is something that is a part of life. It's something you have to experience, and you have to experience different phases of change as part of your purpose. So when you feel a little bit scared of change, just know this is kind of part of your purpose as a human being, and some of your missions are related to just embracing and accepting change and being free from fear. Free from fear. Free from fear. Because here's the thing, when you start fearing change, it is actually like you're fearing a part of yourself, because change is this ever-present thing that's part of being a human being. So when you choose love and you choose to embrace change, you're actually choosing to rise above. Oh, there we go, clearing of the throat. Choose to rise above. Choose to rise above the negative polarity. Choose to rise above fear. That's the test. Notice that a lot of things that you're afraid of change, afraid of connection, afraid of grieving, afraid of peace, because chaos might come, afraid of accepting peace, accepting joy, afraid of staying still. These things that you're afraid of actually are things that you need to grow as a human being, or things that you need to complete your missions. And that's specifically that thing with staying still, because present moment awareness is how you're able to connect to your highest self. So when you're afraid of staying still, you're afraid of sleeping, you're afraid of connecting to your highest self. So the negative polarity gets you and drains your energy. So really, it's important for you to understand that when you embrace change, you're embracing part of you. And it actually makes it easier. It makes it easier to connect to people. Because when you embrace change and you accept it, you're accepting that this is a part of you. Change is a part of you. And therefore, you can actually accept connections with people. Because know that change is a part of things. So instead of having that fear of everyone's just going to leave, have that understanding of it's just change. And change is okay, and there are people who will stay. But you're not going to find those people if you're afraid of change. And sometimes people who leave, they come back. It's just the timing. It's just the timing. And they'll come back and they'll be a different version of themselves, and you'll be a different version of you. You're never going to meet the same person twice, even in the same person. So know that. Know that. Remember that. Just accept the change and know that on the other side of that change is something beautiful. Some people you say goodbye to and you think you may never see them again, they'll come back in a different way. And you will, and it'll be beautiful because you embrace that change. Of moving to a new place, starting a new job, making a new friend, letting go in a breakup, moving on from heartbreak, breaking cycles, starting something new. Starting something new can be so scary. We know, we watch you humans, it can be very scary for you because it's the unknown. But the unknown is the whole reason you're incarnating. When you incarnate to be a human being, you dive headfirst into the unknown because you don't know what the next lifetime's going to be. So actually, while you're incarnating now, you actually know way more than you knew before you incarnated. It's actually less scary. Imagine being a soul who's just gone through the process of processing their entire previous lifetime. Their entire previous lifetime. And going through that process of understanding their previous lifetime. Has accepted, has done some of the work to heal, and has started planning a new lifetime. And now, after having this beautiful period of time of not incarnating, is having to dive first into life and have to go into a tiny baby form where you're not able to communicate. You might not know if you've ever incarnated in that land before. You might have never spoken that language in any lifetime before. That's kind of daunting. That's kind of scary. You're going into a place where you're having people constantly take care of you, and you're like, I have all this knowledge, I have all this wisdom, but nobody can understand me. And that's even scarier. That unknown is scary, and you dive headfirst into it every single time you incarnate because you know it's worth it. Because you know it's worth it, and it has proven to be worth it because you're sitting here right now. You are sitting here right now. You are listening to this. You are evolving. You are growing. It was worth it. That unknown of incarnating was worth it. So now, this next unknown that's smaller, that actually on a soul level, you kind of know what's going to happen next because you worked on planning parts of your life. Not everything, but parts, specific moments, specific experiences that needed to happen. You kind of know the direction that your life's going in some way, some sense your soul knows. So it's less unknown, but you think it's more unknown because of the ego, because the ego doesn't know what your soul knows. The ego's never going to know what your soul knows. It's going to pretend, but it doesn't know. But the highest self and the soul knows exactly what the ego's afraid of and exactly what the ego's thinking of, and can overcome that fear for something new. Embrace change because it's a part of you. So please remember that in this time where it is a period of free will evolving, know that when you accept change, let go of old mentalities and old belief systems, and see how new things are being created and new things will evolve, that change is good. Change is always good because it brings something new, and sometimes something new is needed for you to remember something within you that triggers that knowing of that inner spark so you can complete your missions and your purpose and keep changing, because that is what you humans do. Change and break cycles, make new positive cycles, change, evolve, grow, adapt, inspire. Whoa. And ascend, I guess. Because as he was leaving, he's like, ascend. She was leaving, ascend. Interesting. There is that connection to the salamander's inner spark. Kind of feels like a conclusion to that message. It's very interesting. I haven't been given like many visuals in these channelings. I mean, I have, but it's more so like the visuals are pretty clear, like, and because I'm hearing a lot of it, a lot of this stuff, like, I don't really know. So sometimes I'll be channeling things that I'm like, I don't really know. So they kind of like, here, listen, listen to this. You need to know this. But this time specifically, a visual I was given was like that period before life, and when we kind of sign up to remember this part of us. And I was seeing a lot like the guides of change, and them sitting on like the council of spirit guides, and that they're often like overlooked because we are so afraid of change. So it is time to call to them. Yeah, that being said, sending you love, light, and inspiration, and I will see you in next week's video. Yes, next week's video. That is gonna be I'm thinking because the Lion's Gate is coming up, so there is going to be something going on with the Lion's Gate. There should be probably by now, and like me editing this is gonna see me putting this video together, is gonna see me talking about this, be like, yeah, no duh, there is something going on for the Lion's Gate. There is going to be a live channeling for the Lion's Gate. I don't know the exact time, but look at the screen and read the description for information about that Lion's Gate channeling situation going on. And then the next, like, you know, pre-recorded video, the next video I'm about to sit down and channel is the one for the healing powerhouses. So that's going to be the next one, but there is going to be a live channeling for the Lion's Gate, something new I'm trying, so it's just going to be done live here on YouTube. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I don't think I'm going to do it live on like Facebook or Instagram. It's just going to be here on YouTube. So come and check that out, watch it live, and then it will be recorded, so you can see it and like check the screen and the description for more information on that. Obviously, I'm forgetting these things because I'm recording these videos more in advance, but there we go. It just came to me. Now my human brain's coming back after channeling. This kind of helps me ground a little bit until I move to the next thing. So thank you for that. Hope to see you then. Don't know who I'm channeling during the Lion's Gate channeling. We're going to find out, probably warrior frequency, as they tend to come through during the Lion's Gate. And the Lion's Gate is a perfect time to embrace change and allow that portal to help you let go of the past, embrace something new. And I hope to see you then, or see you in the recording. I'm trying to figure things out because I am in the Eastern European time zone, and I know a lot of you subscribers are not in the Eastern European time zone, are more so, I know, of Latin America, so I'm going to try and find a time that's like good for everyone to do that, but there will be a recording of it as well. Something new, something fun, and I look forward to that. And I look forward to seeing you then, and seeing you in the Amethyst Lavender video next week. So we're going to keep this rhythm going, and looking forward to embracing change with all of you, because I'm doing that in my personal life. So I wish you luck. Now sending you love, light, and inspiration. Stay inspired.